Now, next up in the news, I want to talk about another guy that I think, in my opinion, is starting to become my favorite pick for a top 3 spot at the Arnold Classic, Raphael Brandao. So we got a really brief video clip of Raphael. And honestly, we haven't really seen a whole lot of updates from Raphael as he gets closer to the Arnold Classic. But he's a guy, when you talk about improvements, we've seen a lot of improvements with Samson, but Raphael looks extremely improved. He looks like we know he's put on a lot of size based on those off-season pictures that we saw. So we got this brief video, but I think more importantly and more telling was the update that his friend Flex Lewis posted. So Flex posted this, and it was about a week. It was about 5.5 weeks when he posted this, and he said it was taken 9 days ago. So it put Raphael more around the 7 weeks out mark. But I think, man, when you look at this update, even though it's just one picture, this front lat spread, you can really start to see the changes that Raphael has made. You can really see the size that he's put on. I mean, yeah, we saw it in the off-season pictures, but those were off-season pictures. He wasn't, losing fat and losing water and maybe getting a little bit flat. So this is him in prep, and you can still clearly see he's brought up his legs a lot. His upper body width looks increased. His arms look bigger. His delts look bigger. His lats look wider. I think you can see pretty noticeable improvements from Raphael in just this picture. I mean, his legs were something that people criticized earlier in his career, and they look really, really good here. And obviously another thing that people really like about Raphael is he's a little bit different for an open bodybuilder. He's a little bit more aesthetic. He's got a smaller waist. He just looks a little bit more streamlined than some other guys. And the last time we saw him at the Olympia, even though we didn't get to see him in 2023, he was 10th place. And I think that kind of flew under the radar a little bit because he's a lot better here, a lot bigger than he was at the Olympia when he got that top 10 placing. So when I look at this list of guys, and you think about, well, Hadi and Samson are probably a lock. Nothing's ever a lock in bodybuilding, but probably as close to a lock as you can get for Hadi and Samson being the top 2 at this Arnold Classic. So that 3rd place spot is kind of that spot that's, who's it going to be? And at first I thought Andrew Jacked, but now Andrew's out. Then I thought, well, maybe Rubiel could sneak in there, Nexzilla. It seems like Nexzilla might not be doing the Ohio. And then I thought, well, then you've got guys like Marcelo from Brazil, another Brazilian bodybuilder. He looks really impressive. But then I keep going back to Raphael because he is one of the guys that is really of that caliber that I think he could stand with Samson and Hadi, especially now. So I think Raphael could be a real contender here, but let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Now, next up in the news, another Brazilian athlete competing at the Arnold Classic in the Classic Physique division, Ramon Dino. So there's an interesting update that I saw about Ramon here recently, and it was Ramon weighing himself. And he weighs 117.3 kilos, which is roughly 258 pounds and some change. So he is close to 260 pounds. So like when we saw those updates a few days ago, and I was saying, well, he looks really big. He looks like he could be 260. It turns out he pretty much is. So that's why he looks so big in these updates, because his weight limit in Classic Physique is 103 kilos, which is right about 227 pounds. So he's almost 15 kilos heavier, or almost 30 pounds heavier than the allowed stage weight. That's why he looks so big in these pictures and videos and updates, because he is. As lean as he is at that body weight, as lean as he is at 260, and at his height, he's at like open bodybuilder size. Because when we say he's 30 pounds over the weight limit, it's not like he's fat here. It's not like he looks terrible. He's in great condition here. He's in great shape. He's vascular. You can see all kinds of detail and striations. And if anything, it kind of makes me wonder how he's going to make weight for Classic Physique in just 5 weeks. And we've had this conversation before with Ramon because he gets pretty big going into a show. And I want to say last year, his Arnold Classic prep, he was maybe 115 kilos at this point in his prep, maybe even closer to the show. So now he's even bigger, and I think he looks even better. So obviously he's already shown that he is capable of, sucking down to that weight limit. Even like last time, maybe it was like 25 pounds that he had to lose in 6 weeks or whatever. So we know that he is capable of doing it, but it's just like, man, this guy looks good at 260. And I think this is why this conversation comes up so much when it comes to some of these classic guys like Chris Bumstead or Urs or Ramon. We see them get up to these weights, like Urs at, 275 his last offseason, and he was still really lean. Ramon at, 5-6 weeks out, weighing almost 260 pounds. Chris Bumstead, as big as he is in classic physique. I mean, we see all these guys look really good, really lean, great structure, great physiques. And their body weight at some of these, at the leanness that they're at, this is like open bodybuilder body weight. And I really think until people hear these numbers, these body weights, they don't understand how big these classic guys really are. They're not small. They're not like drastically smaller than open guys. And maybe this is a bad example because I was going to say Nick Walker competes at like 250, but he's obviously much shorter than Ramon. But I mean, for example, Nick's like one of the biggest, most muscular freaks in bodybuilding right now. And he competes, and again, he's much shorter, so take it with a grain of salt, but he competes at 10 pounds less than we're looking at from Ramon right now. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Now,